So that's where having a double mirror setup is very fucking nice. But last bolt fucking pump check of the year is for me. The carbon flat. Oh, forgot to take off the ND filter for anybody who wasn't talking up there. So aesthetics, here we fucking come. Oh, I'm getting amped. I am getting freaking amped. So I'll I guess no need to highlight all the real changes once the diet starts. I can talk about that tomorrow. When it's actually starting. So let's have a little look back on this bulk. Steady weight gain, reasonable speed, plus a newfound love for a more quad-based pressing. So that is the way to freaking do it. So no doubt, having increased pressing load, improving fucking quad gains. Plus, I already have this bulk phase. I'm talking over the next few years. I've got a couple pairs of jeans that I just bought where they actually fit pretty well. Next two bulking phases, I'm gonna have to completely overhaul the fucking closet. But speaking of the closet, that makes me a little happy because now once I start to, deflate is a very good word, right? Over the next like 2 weeks, I'm probably gonna drop like easily 10 pounds down to 260 just from being more carb and glycogen depleted, right? So that's just the nature of it, right? So again, thinking about it from a percentage standpoint, it's only like a 3% drop in weight, right? But it is substantial enough where you'll notice. And maybe if you don't notice, I'll definitely fucking notice. If you go from having really bulked up pump checks to being a little bit flatter one day, you're gonna say, oh man, what the hell? But that's where you gotta toughen up, right? So usually things are a little, bulking up actually is at least in the bulking rotation of things, you pretty much look the freakiest right when you start dieting phase, and less unfortunately for me at this current moment, you look the dieting phase right after bulking phase. Because if you've been trimming down and you get actually like lean, like you're sub 10, not even sub 10, like you're around 10% body fat, you can see your abs, you can see maybe just a hint of quad feathering depending on how big your quads are. You can see pretty much all the muscle that's going around underneath your baseline level of skin, right? Now, if you're depleted, then if you go 2 days and just go nuts on carbs, like you have an extra like 500 grams of carbs for 2 days straight, you are immediately going to look fucking freakier. Your pumps are going to be more pumped, and you're going to be kind of you'll definitely see a momentary strength and endurance gain when you lift. Muscles themselves are about to shrink down just a touch because now I'm no longer. So that's why you'll hear like the beginning of a dieting phase, people usually feel the crappiest. Because once you build up momentum and you kind of start to get the results that you're aiming for, then you get comfortable. If I'm dieting down, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm kind of hungry, but I'm freaking diced, so it feels pretty cool. Let's just get going. It's those first few weeks where, contracting man, I'm like hungry all the time. I'm not any leaner. What the hell? It's like you got to broaden your time frame. 2 weeks is nothing. In the scheme of changes to your body, 2 weeks is pretty much fucking jack. But once you get into 4 weeks, once you get into 6 weeks, once you get into 8 weeks, depending on how locked into whatever kind of thing you're doing is, that can be a pretty serious amount of time. Make some fucking serious changes to however you look, be it bulking up or dieting down, getting a touch leaner. So that's where I'm not envious of the lifters who find themselves in a perpetual plateau, but only due to a lack of kind of jumping in with both feet to one state or the other. Because I think the trajectory from non-lifter to pretty experienced lifter, let's say a 5-year course, I think those first 2-3 years, I wouldn't even really freak out about trying to do an insane bulking phase or a crazy dieting phase. That is, if you started like a kind of a classic would, 15% body fat, just regular dude, like nothing crazy. Now, of course, if you're upwards in like the 30, 40, depending on the guy, 50% body fat range, then you get a different approach because now you got a fat loss transformation before your real kind of muscle building gets revealed. Which I'm not the best guy to ask for that kind of thing because I haven't really lived that. I can tell you my advice, which like objectively would be right, but I'm missing out on the subjective side of things. I came up from the more just skinnier, regular kid kind of approach, like 160 pounds, 16-year-old, to where am I now? So I just haven't lived that, right? But same thing, maybe you'd have to just focus on that, maybe you'd have to focus on that dieting deficit side of things first, and then once you're at a baseline level of leanness, just get your main gaining going. But for the more kind of just baseline character, which I think most starting people are probably around, then hit your protein. If you're a 160-pound kid, or guy, I don't know how old you are, eat 160 grams of good protein a day. Actually, slam some shakes if necessary. I see no problem with the protein supplementation. I wouldn't want to eat all my protein just from like shakes or like meal replacement things like that. But you're not gonna suddenly nullify your gains if you have 2 scoops of chocolate whey with some blended ice. Right? Plus, depending on the guy, even getting 160 grams of protein can be a chore. So drinking it can't help. But if you hit that protein goal and then eat as much food as your body is basically hungry for, then when you add a weight training routine into that scenario, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. If you're a real nutcase, 7 days a week, but definitely not completely necessary, right? Honestly, to go from 0 days a week of working out to even just every other day, so that would be 3 to 4 depending on the week, you're gonna see serious gains for sure. I don't think that's like the most optimal approach. I feel like a 3-day on, 1 day off is getting close to pretty much perfect. But even that's what I'm trying to say. Adding any training that weekends. So that 1 to 2 year mark, hit your protein, lift hard, get training experience, talk to the experienced guy at your gym, learn some working intel that you might not have known, ask him for form tips, little things like that, and then just get smarter as a lifter. If you're actually not hard, a lot of things are going to fall into place. If you're, I get to, so there's a pretty wide demographic of people watching these videos, so I get to ask, like, any parents who had kids where they started working out, especially moms. You guys are, like, hypersensitive to any changes in, like, their diet, their sleep, their kind of just routines and everything else. If you see them working out, like, religiously, I'm talking every day after school, we're going to the gym, we're actually pushing it. It doesn't matter if you're a fucking, like, professional curl, perfect form, whatever. If you're working out hard, you'll see they're going to start challenging way more. So it's kind of like you're giving your body a need by adding some intense training. Because then it's going to say, dude, like, you got to recover from this kind of shit. You need more food. How does your body tell you to eat more food? Well, you feel hungry. So for that 1 to 2, even to 3 year of just maintaining, you're good. I mean, that's all I felt like. I wasn't bulking or anything. I was hitting my protein, just working out hard. There was no bulk. And part, I mean, maybe I'm missing out because I wasn't bulking back then, but also it didn't really match my MO, the main objective. Because it wasn't just working out. I was doing, like, diving and shit at the same time. For me to really push it weight-wise, kind of gets in the way. I mean, I haven't forgotten how to do all those flips and twists and everything else, but I tell you something, it's way harder now that I've got an extra, basically 100 pounds compared to when I was a bit lighter. But after that, I think you're going to need to start doing a little calorie manipulation. Maybe, just as simple as something like upping your carb intake, making sure you hit like a 300, 400 or whatever else. Like, look up a macro tracker, well, a macro tracker, yeah, but also look up a maintenance calorie calculator online, plug in your information, that should give you a good baseline. Just watch some, like, just like go on YouTube, how to eat in a bulk, or how to plan my diet as a bodybuilder, And there's a lot of junk info out there for sure, but if you watch these videos and you try to take notes for the stuff that you think is actually going to work out, dude, before you know it, you're going to be a goddamn pro. Yeah, for my car. And then little things like, oh crap, dude, I need to I only had 150 grams of carbs today before this workout. I can feel it. Like, that's just going to become your new thing, right? But yeah, don't I'm talking about bulking and cutting everything else to do. I'm not knocking main gain for capacity. But if you main gain for long enough and you reach a point where you're no longer growing, if you're no longer making gains and all the effort that you're putting into working out, it's just effort to maintain your state. So that's where I say, if you're not, if nothing's changing, then the routine that you're doing isn't working. It's working enough to stay where you are, but if you're not actually making some vector of progress, take a step back, try to analyze your shit, and then make it happen. So now that I've reached a certain level of knowledge about calorie intake, and half of it also is just kind of a little disciplinary too. Like, I know not to just go crazy on like a cheat day, 2 weeks in my dieting phase, partially just because I know it's not going to work. I'm just going to totally screw myself gains-wise. But I've gotten to the point where now it's not a question of like, okay, am I going to be able to lose body fat this time? Am I going to be able to get leaner during these next 3 months? Like, the amount of information I've got on the subject now, it's not a point of if. It's simply to what degree, right? So that's where I think a lot of things are potentially mystified and given a certain allure just because the information isn't really kind of understood. Right? A magic trick is no longer magic once you know the tricks and the steps behind it. So that's my little ender there. So I'm gonna go check on my dog and cat at my parents' house because they're out of town. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 1 of whatever I end up calling that little series for highly effective muscle maintaining arm pumping. So I'll see you for that.
I want to announce some new tour dates, especially a Canadian one. We will be in Vancouver, BC on September 14th at Stanley Park. Get your tickets early, starting Wednesday, April 10th at 10 a.m. local time with pre-sale code RATKING. General on sale starts Friday, April 12th at 10 a.m. local time. We also have tickets remaining in St. Louis, Missouri on April 19th and Halifax, Nova Scotia on August 11th. You can get tickets at theovon.com/TOUR. Thank you to everyone for your support. And if tickets are too expensive wherever you are, just wait. We'll come back around sometime. Don't outspend yourself. And we love you and thank you. We are here at the Tunnel Bar, downtown Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at the Hilton Hotel. And we are grateful to get to spend time today with a UFC legend, his lightweight competitor, former interim champion, and just a one-of-a-kind guy to cheer for and get to know. We're grateful to have him returning to the podcast. Today's guest is Mr. Dustin Poirier.
These came in almost back-to-back. That's what I find extraordinary. These just came in yesterday. This is normally Goddard. are married something that seems like forever. Second marriage for both. We can get along for about a half an hour. And then I think my crazy bone gets me up. And I think, how am I in this crazy situation? Worse now, he's retired now, while I still work from home with my own successful business. After looking forward to this night since March, when I bought the fan club tickets, we get into this meaningless fight. And he says he's not going to go to your show. Bitchin' jerk. Finally, at 6 or so, I said, get out. You need to get up and get out and laugh.